So I want to show you today, this is a card that I have been wanting to create. It's called a tri-fold angle card. And it opens like such. It's a lot of fun. It's decorated on both sides. And when I first researched this card, I didn't really find too many videos. And I found one video, and by the end of the video, I was laughing so hard because I don't know who was more confused, the gal doing the video or myself. We were both laughing. Because I knew the base of this card wouldn't be hard. It would be trying to cut this angle to match the angle of the base with your designer paper. So she was saying it's 1 5/16 or 7/16, or she kept going back and forth, and I was laughing so hard I was like, ooh, I don't think I could do that card right now. So I walked away. But Cheryl Farrer is a dear customer and somebody who has stamped with me my entire career, almost 20 years, and she wanted to see this card, so by golly, I was not going to let the cardstock take me down. And it really is easy. I think I found the easiest way to show you. So that's what I'm going to share with you today. Now, the products I'm using, the designer paper, that is from our January through June catalog, and it's on page 41, and I am actually using the Sand and Sea Designer Series paper. It is beautiful, and I love the colors, and it just lended itself great to this coastal card. The stamp set I'm using is one that is retiring. You all know our retiring list is out right now, and those stamp sets are only available, and the designer papers, anything in there that's retiring, is only available to the end of the month or while supplies last. Hey, Ellen, glad you could pop on. So this is called High Tide, and I love it. I love the sayings. There's nothing little about your light, because you know we love our lighthouses here on the coast. In high tide or low tide, I'll be by your side. Let hope be your lighthouse, beckoning you through the stormy seas. And you have the most amazing ability to take an ordinary moment and make it shine. But I love our seagulls. Just a great set. And it's a 2-step stamp set. So this gets stamped on top of here to create your lighthouse. And I'm going to show you how I did that with the Stamperatus later in my video. Because you use a Stamperatus, it's going to be perfect every time. So here was a card from way back when. I believe my friend Tanya Reed did this at an event, and I was fortunate enough to go to the event. And again, just loved this card. So this is what it looks like with everything stamped. And for all of us who are spoiled, no, there are not any dies to cut this out, but Stampin' Up! Still sells the best pair of paper snips I've ever used. But even just to stamp it, it's a great card. So let me get started, and let me try to make it as simple as I can. Again, this is a card that we're making. I will show you your pieces first, and then I'm going to actually cut the pieces in front of you so that you'll have a reference to go back to when you're making yours. The easiest way when you're making this card, what makes it zigzag from side to side, is you have to have 3 equal sections. This has to be the same as this and this. So it's 4, 4, 4. And that's why it's really easiest to use a 12 by 12 sheet of cardstock. Now, if you don't scrapbook, you may not even know we sell 12 by 12 cardstock, but we do. We sell it in our colors in an assorted pack. And again, this is the easiest way because I have 3 sections of 4 each, and then that's 5.5 inches. So for your base, just like I said, 12 by 5.5. You are going to score it at 4 inches and 8 inches. And then this angle here, you can make this angle anything you want. That's what's so fun about this card. When I look at it, I look and think, okay, what do I want to stamp here? That's the section I need. Or do I want to put something up here? So that's the way you do it. So for this card, this is 2 inches. It could be 2.5 inches. It could be however you want, depending on how deep you want that angle. So that would be 2 inches, and you're really just going to cut from this corner up to that second score line. So that's your base piece. Then for your inside pieces, you're going to need 1 sheet of 3 3/4 by 5 1/4 Whisper White. That's the piece that I have that I can actually write something on. And then I have a piece of designer paper, 3 3/4 by 1 3/4. Next, I have a piece of the designer paper 3 3/4 by 3 1/2. And then I have 2 sheets of designer paper. I want to try to keep you in the screen here. 2 sheets of coordinating designer paper that are 3 3/4 by 5 1/4. So those are the pieces that you're going to need to make the cards, and I will take a picture of them and actually put them off to the side. So again, you can tell I was really into the dimensions today, the visual of this. This is your 12 by 5 1/2, scored at 4 1/8. I'm measuring up 2 inches, cutting to that second score line. So let's do that. This is my 12 by 12. I'm going to take my ruler, and again, I'm measuring up from the bottom. I'm going to put my little tick mark, my 2 inches. So I'm just going to take that 2-inch mark and put it in like where my track is right here to cut. And down here, I don't know if you can see it, the top of that second score line is going into that track also. So I have both of them in there. And then I'm just going to close it and cut. And that is how I have my angled piece. And again, play with this because you can make this angled piece any way you want. So I'm scored there. Give a nice crease. Score back this way. Give a nice crease. And that's my base piece. So we'll do the easy part first. Actually, no, we'll wait. Let's just tackle this head on. For this section here, again, when she was throwing the 5/8 and 7/8 and everything else, I was hysterical. Like I said, just laughing. But really, it's just like a regular card. This is a regular card, and whenever you layer something, you're just going 1/4 inch smaller. So for example, my card base is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. That is like the basic size card when you have a piece of cardstock and you fold it in half. Next layer here, the Misty Moonlight. This here is 4 by 5 1/4. Just 1/4 inch smaller all the way around than this. My layered piece here, 3 3/4 by 5. So you can see how we're going in 1/4 inch each time. That's how you have to think of these pieces. Don't worry about that angle first. So basically on here, if I measured this piece is 4 inches. Think of this as a square. 4 inches. I come up to the height here. That is 3 3/4. Okay. So if it's 4 by 3 3/4, just make it a little bit smaller. It's like it would fit on here like this. 3 3/4 by 3 1/2. Just a little bit smaller. So now, how do I cut that angle? Well, if this was a 2 inches up, as I told you, just make that 1 3/4 inches up. So I'm going to take here from the bottom, just 1/4 inch smaller. I'm going to do my 1 3/4 right here. I'm going to take my trimmer and again, put that tick mark there and this piece here. So there's where my 1 3/4 is. That is my corner. Cut. And I have my piece that is perfectly layered there. Going to do it again. We're going to go through this time and time again, and then I will stamp our pieces to create our card. Okay, so then you came to this piece. Now for this piece, I love these little guys, and somebody always has to tell me, I want to call it a sand dollar, and it's not. What kind of shell is this? Y'all help me out here on Facebook. I will see it, because y'all know it, and I always forget. So again, here we had 4 inches by 5 1/2. That would be a rectangle if it was complete here. So this would be just slightly under that. This is going to be 3 3/4 by 5 1/4. And again, look at it. Like if it was just a layer on a card, that's all it would be. Okay, so when the top of this angle here is actually, I am not a centimeter person. Let me get on inches. 3 3/4. Okay, so when I was coming up here, that's 3 3/4. So you want to be a 1/4 inch smaller. So I'm just going to mark this 3 1/2. Okay. And cut the same. Ah, sea urchin. Thank you, Donna. I don't know why I can never remember that. A sea urchin. They're the coolest things. So here I have my pencil mark going to the top corner there. And now this piece, that piece is going to fit right in there. So see, don't even mention fractions. Just know, you just have to know it has to, if this was squared off or rectangled off, this piece is a 1/4 inch smaller, and whatever the angle starts here, it's just a 1/4 inch lower, cut to the corner. So I have that piece, and then this piece is easy enough. We'll get to that. Now when I do this side, because if you actually look at the card, those are the 2 pieces I just cut, but when I fold it, I have a back piece here. So to cut this one, instead of measuring up here and cutting this way, you need to remember your measurement is on the right and you're angling this way. You can either turn it over and keep doing it the same way, or you can just remember, okay, my angle is going to the left, where these angles are going to the right. I point that out because, yeah, you know, I didn't end up doing that. I cut the wrong size paper, so I always learn from my mistakes, but praise the Lord, I learned the first time. So there again, look at it like, gee, if it was a 1/4 inch smaller, we would go that way. So I just have to cut this angle. So this angle again, that's 4 inches right here. So I need to go, now see, I'm doing it backwards, but I'm trying to keep it simple for y'all. I'm sorry, that's 3 3/4. So now I will cut 3 1/2. I turn mine over and do it on the back because I'm used to cutting the same direction each time, but let me try. That would be 3 1/2. I think it keeps it less confusing this way. So there again, there's my pencil mark. Tilt that angle. And voila. There's our part. So now we should pretty much have all the parts we need. I always like to use a white, I don't know if it's a rubber or a gum eraser, but I try to use, I don't know what it is, the pencil erasers, and they always leave marks. So these little white erasers take that pencil mark off so your card does not turn out tacky. Got to hide our little marks. So these are my parts. So what I'm going to do here, I'll get this one out of the way. This one's on the back. So I'm just going to tape this on here because I am not doing any stamping on this. So I'll just line this up. And that is that back piece. So now for this piece, I did want to stamp on it. Again, using the High Tide set, I loved it. And this reminded me of the sand, but I wanted to put a little bit of extra on there. So I am actually taking Sahara sand, which is a very light color. I found the crumb cake was a little too dark. And I'm just stamping this down at the bottom to hopefully give a little bit of definition. There you go. Oops, I did ink my hat pad, so that's good. But that's my sand drift there, my dunes. So I have that piece there. And I'm also going to stamp, I really liked the words, what is it? In high tide or low tide, I'll be by your side. So I'm just going to stamp this with Night of Navy because I really wanted it to stand off to the side. So I have my words. So this I can actually put down because, again, I just have the lighthouse that I will show you how to do to put on there. So let me put this on my card. Ooh, you've never seen me abuse adhesive like that before, have you? Gonna have it stick well. So that's my front. Now for the inside, right here, again, this one just gets taped on the inside, and you could make this Whisper White. You could have stamped a little bit more on here. It's really up to you. I always feel like we should have a card challenge after this, and I get to see what you all come up with. So there's your piece there. Now for this piece, again, this was 3 3/4 by 5 1/4. And I didn't want to put a whole piece of designer paper in there because I did want to have some white to stamp on. So I have my piece here, 3 3/4 by 1 3/4. And I'm just going to take this and put it at the top. Okay. And I would love to be able to leave this edge, but for some reason that just drives me crazy. It's just, it looks unfinished. I feel like I either need a piece of, I don't know, ribbon or a piece of, you know, a strip of cardstock. But thankfully, since everything we have coordinates together, I am going to use the, what is it right here? Oh my goodness, so many languages. The 2020-2022 in color ribbon. And this is, this is Misty Moonlight. Misty Moonlight. So again, whether this was a piece of cardstock or a ribbon, just something, I think it gives it a finished edge. So I'm just going to put a little bit of tape in the middle, and I can put it on the edges of my ribbon so that when I turn this over, yeah, Barb says she does the same thing. She has to cover it. I just think it gives it such a cleaner edge. I like it so much more. There. See, now I'll be able to sleep tonight. This I can live with. And really what I should have done was stamp my birds first, because now the pressure is on. If I mess these birds up, there's my designer paper. I've messed that up. Let me bring in a little reinforcement here. I'm going to bring my pad because this is a photopolymer set. So sometimes it's good to have your pierce mat underneath it. I think I had enough cushion there, but I'm just not willing to chance it. So here I have my birds. Beautiful. All right. It just gives that little bit of extra cushion that you typically don't have with a photopolymer set. So I'm going to put this on the inside, and I always like to put a little bit of adhesive on these ribbon ends too, because that makes sure that they're going to stay tucked under there nicely. So I'll just center this up in here. And really, outside of our lighthouse, this part is done. So let me show you how I did the lighthouse. Now we have a very cool tool called the Stamperatus. In fact, I was really surprised on the Stamperatus that it comes with this really nice, it doesn't come with it, you have to purchase it, but it has this beautiful Stamperatus bag. Now this sold for $29. You open it up, it has a place for your Stamperatus, you keep it over here, you can keep your grid paper in here, all kinds of cool stuff. They aren't carrying this anymore, and it is marked down to like $11.50. So if you have a Stamperatus, please go order this case because it's nice. You just grab it and go. And plus it keeps it protected. But basically a Stamperatus is a positioning tool. So it's great for two-step stamping because you can get everything just right. It's great when you're stamping something and say it's not dark enough. You can ink your stamp again and put it over. And ours just does a multitude of things. Have to do another video on just what the Stamperatus does. But I am going to show you how I did this, finish my card, and then I'll show you how I positioned those. So basically, again, it's two-step stamping. So I have one of my lighthouses here. I have the accent lighthouse here. I'm going to put a piece of Whisper White cardstock in here. And then I'm just going to put the magnets on here. Now these magnets are super duper strong. So be careful when you're using it. And if you're, you know how magnets are, they just gravitate to each other. Us and our girlfriends, that's what it's like. We love to be with each other, and these magnets will snap together. They can break, so just be careful. Slide them apart. Don't try to pry them. Slide them apart if they ever do snap together on you, because they are super, super strong. So I'm going to use Misty Moonlight, and Smoky Slate. Robin says she loves her Stamparatus bag. I do too, Robin. I have 2 bags, and I have 2 Stamparatuses. So when we are all stamping in person again, it's always good to have more than one. So what I've done is I've put the Misty Moonlight here, and I'm going to stamp my Whisper White cardstock. Now, see how it might not be as dark on the edges I like? Not a problem. I can come back in here again, because it's going to go exactly where I had it. I'm going to push it down. Now it's perfect, and it's nice and dark. So when you have a solid stamp like that, it really is helpful to have this in case you do need to go over it again. Now for the accent, I'm just taking the Smoky Slate. I've inked it up, and I'm just coming down the other way. That's one of the nice things about Stampin' Ups. I don't have, I have 2 directions, so I can just bam, 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 back and forth compared to taking this one off and then doing it again. Okay, so I didn't like the way that came out there. So let me just ink it up again. And I might have it too high. I probably would have been better not to have it as high up here. But you can see how easy it is to do your lighthouse and have this line up completely. So again, I'll show you how I put those stamps on there in a minute, but let me finish our card. I'm just going to, again, I'm sorry, we do not have dies for this, but I have countless pairs of paper snips because they really are the best paper cutting scissors. They're sharp all the way on the end, so if you have to get in little bitty places, you can. But I am just cutting this out with just a little bit of a white edge going around. And you can tell I don't micromanage this. Just come straight down. Now y'all know the other thing that's retiring that has me in mourning is our shimmer paint. I hope from last week's video that you did get yourself some shimmer paint. Remember, we took our blending brushes and we put it on cardstock and it came out beautifully. Well, I don't know if you noticed or not, but in this card, I did the same thing, but I did it on designer paper. So that was last week's video. You can find it on YouTube that I did with the Stamperatus, or you can find it on my channel here. Everything is Creating with Colleen. Whether it's Creating with Colleen on my YouTube channel, or creatingwithcolleen.com for my blog, or Creating with Colleen on my Facebook page. Just come create with me. So this was the champagne shimmer that I loved using. And with this, I just mixed it with that 70% alcohol. So I don't know what I'm going to shimmer with. I guess I'll use my Wink of Stella. But it's so much easier just to take this and spritz. Probably didn't need all that, but I do like a shimmer. And the best part is, since it is rubbing alcohol, it will dry fairly quickly. So here I have my shimmery, I don't know if y'all can see that. It's always so pretty. My shimmery lighthouse. And I am going to take, I should let that dry, but for the sake of time, we are just going to put some dimensionals on here. And as you see with the dimensionals, I didn't go all the way to the top because part of this is going to be sticking out. So I'm just going to remove the paper backing on my dimensionals. And the nice thing with this sand is it really has the outline of where my lighthouse goes. So I'll just put it on here. And that is how you make a tri-fold angle card. Just for you, Cheryl, just for you. Now, I am going to figure out how to do it on an 11-inch piece of paper because, again, you have to have, the 12-inch was fine because you have to have 3 even sections. So 4 inches into 12 goes evenly. For the 11, I want to play with it a little bit more because most people do have 11-inch cardstock. But whatever you do, you just have to have those 3 sections. Now let me show you, I was telling you with the Stamperatus, how do you line it up? So let me show you how I would line it up, how I would do this. If I had both of these off of here. We're getting brave now because you know it's easy to line it up when nobody's watching. So what I'm going to do is I'll put my piece of cardstock in here. I'm going to put it down just a little bit so it's not so high. So for the first lighthouse, I just put it in the middle. I shut my side. She's sticky. Well, that one doesn't matter because I haven't stamped yet. It was a little sticky and wet. Let me make sure I really get my magnets holding this down. So I have my first lighthouse here. So what I'm going to do is, again, I'll take my Misty Moonlight. I will ink this up. And I'm going to stamp. And pull up slowly because, again, it will stick to your paper some. So there's my first lighthouse. Again, if I wanted to, I can make it a little bit darker because it's going to go exactly where it was, like that. So now for this piece, since this coordinates with it, it coordinates with it. I am actually going to lay it on top of this image. And y'all are going to have to forgive me. Close enough should count because I can't get my head right up in this camera. But anyways, so I put this on here. It's great with photopolymer. I can pretty much see right below it. I'm going to go up a little higher because, you know, I just can't leave well enough alone here. There we go. Okay. So now that I have this here, I'm going to close this. And so that is where this one is positioned. So then I'll come back with my smoky slate. And again, I can make adjustments if it's not quite right, but let's see how we did. And then I'm just going to stamp this on here. Ooh, that was better than the first time. So again, if I need to go a little darker, not a problem. It's in the exact same place. Here we go. And there I have my lighthouse. And that's how it is great to use for two-step stamping. It really is. But again, there are other Stamparatuses on the market, I guess. I don't think they call them that. But I do think Stampin' Up! Has the best because we do have both a side plate, we have a top plate. We also have, okay, let me just share anyway since we're sharing. The other great thing about this is you can use this as a step down. So for example, you want to pull it completely up, but say for example, you got to use your imagination here. Pretend those are my words, okay? So pretend that says happy birthday. I'm going to stamp it. I'm going to pull it up. I'm going to move it down. I'm going to stamp it again and up, and you're going to have something that looks like this. Let me take it out of the sleeve so you can actually see what this is. See how these are evenly positioned? That's what I was talking about, which would be so much fun. So for example, I guess it's easier to show you with this. This should be another video for another day, and it might be, but for now I just want you to see the versatility of this. Say that says happy birthday. Imagination, people. Okay. So I stamp happy birthday in green. I bump it down twice. I stamp happy birthday again in green. You following me? Move it down twice. And of course that, I would move that. Stamp happy birthday again. So now I wash my happy birthday off. Get my pink. I stamp happy birthday in pink. I come down 2 slots. I stamp happy birthday again. So the other ones, again, I've never tried the other versions, but I don't even think you can take these plates off. So it's really cool. Here was another birthday card that I did a while back with the same technique. In fact, I think my stamp clubs did this one. But here we made it an ombre. So what we did is we stamped the happy birthday in full ink, but we never inked it a second time. So we inked it, moved it down, just stamped it again, and it got lighter and lighter because that was the only time we inked it. But again, the Stamperatus is just an awesome tool. And if you have it and you want to get the bag, get that now. It's on clearance. I hope it's still there because, again, remember, anything that is retired is only while supplies last. And if you don't have a Stamperatus, you really need one. You know I wouldn't steer you wrong, and you know I wouldn't sell you something without myself believing in it. So, again, this is the card. I hope you enjoyed it. It's just a trifold angle card. Anyway, so if you all need to order anything, please use hostess code right here, this KKY9GCBP. I always feel like I'm giving some secret code. But use that. You can order from my blog, creatingwithcolleen.com. And I also have a newsletter. And if you would like to receive that newsletter, please also subscribe for it at Creating with Colleen. If you are watching this on YouTube, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel and click that little bell because you should get notified every time that I make a new video. So I want to thank everybody for being here with lunch today. Kay loves this card. Michelle loves this fold. It was a lot of fun. And again, y'all know my weakness really is special folds. I love a special fold. And this one I had not tried before, but it's definitely one that I will revisit again. Oh, Marilyn said on the other brands, you cannot move the plates. She immediately had it and traded it for Stampin' Ups. Thank you, Marilyn. That's what I thought, but I didn't want to give bum information. But Stampin' Up, again, to me has the best products, and I love creating with it. So I hope all of you have a wonderful day. I had Tyler Joe, my grandbaby, yesterday for a day. Had a blast, went to the park. And tonight, I get my oldest granddaughter, Zoe. She is actually going to spend the night, and tomorrow we are having a Zoe Oma Day because she is creative. She's the only one out of the whole lot who is stamp room ready, and I promise you she'll be teaching me. So one of these times we might have to do a Facebook Live while Zoe's here. I think that would be fun. So God bless you all, and please do something creative today. And I look forward to seeing you next Wednesday at noon when we create again. Thanks so much, and happy stamping.